What cringy thing you did in the past still keeps you up at night? Sent like 5 love confessions to a girl in high school over MySpace. Then chickened out and deleted them. Turns out deleting stuff from the sent box doesn't unsend the message. There was a brief time in middle school in which I would speak in the manner of Tony Scarface Montana. Shut da fuck up, you pile of cockroaches. So embarrassing. I was invited to the birthday party of someone I'd only met a couple times, but we had a lot of mutual friends. I was sat in the lounge having a drink and the birthday guy came in. Leant over me with his arms outstretched, so I hugged him. He was reaching for something behind me. When I got my period for the first time, I took it upon myself to warn all friends, some of whom I wasn't even very close with via email, that I might be moody because, yeah no, womanhood and all. Ugh. I was really sick one day in high school, and my mother thought I was faking it and still made me go. I sneezed so hard I shit myself. It was everywhere. I called her to ask if she could pick me up from school or at least bring me a change of clothes. She still thought I was lying. Luckily my gym teacher found me a pair of pants, but I had to deal with my shame for the rest of the school year. I got made fun of a lot for that. I was crawling across the floor of a store to go play with a girl on the other side of the store. Crawling because my mom said I couldn't go play, so I was very sneakily sneaking away. An old woman didn't see me and tripped over me in the middle of the store. In 6th grade, I started playing Guitar Hero 3. That was my intro into any music differing from hip hop. So I basically threw the entire track list onto my iPod and would walk around campus air guitaring. Or more like air guitar heroing, I guess. Anyway, one day in class my teacher asked the class if any of us played an instrument and the conversation went like this. Noob 21. Don't you play guitar? No, I actually play Guitar Hero. Basically the same thing. I do actually play guitar now, and this thought makes me cringe so much. I openly considered myself as a gigolo, and had the coolio hairstyle to match. I'm a very pale ginger. Cold sweats and stifled vomit come with these memories. When I was in the first year of high school, I was in a show where we were divided into groups. In my group there was a girl who had recently become a mother. I remember that right before one of the shows, she was standing with her friends and being very negative about the show and said she wished she didn't have to do it. For some insane, idiotic reason I thought it would be hilarious to say, do the show or I'll kill your baby. She never spoke to me again. And I will never forget the way she and her friends looked at me. I cringe so hard every time I think about this. When I was in middle school 6th grade, these older kids were making fun of me. So I turned and yelled at them, I can't hear you. I have a potato in my ear, like I was the smartest ducking person on earth. They proceeded to continue making fun of me and my potato ear. When I was 12, 13 I was homeschooled. My only real social interaction was at church. So I would get bored during the week and take the city bus down to the main transfer station around the time school was getting out, only to then take the bus back home with all the kids, pretending to be one of them. A lot of people took the city bus instead of the school bus depending on where they lived. I would wear my backpack and everything to try to blend in, probably with just random stuff in it. Anyway, at this particular time I was positive that the coolest possible clothing combination I had come up with was a pair of brown corduroy pants, airwalk skate shoes. This is about 1997, and a multicolored tie-dyed shirt. I was positive that this outfit made me the shit and gave me the confidence to talk to anyone. I think I wore it pretty much every day. There was one particular girl that I had been checking out for several weeks, and one day decided to work up the nerve to talk to her. Nearing her stop, I walked back a couple rows and sat one seat in front of her. Hey, are you in my English class? I lead with, I don't know. Who's your teacher? Oh, I hadn't planned for this appropriately. Quick, think of something. Oh, I just transferred. I can't even remember his name. Mr. Roberts. Robert. Son. Roberts. I don't know who that is. But I'm not in that class. Oh okay. I think I've seen you around. Okay. Gives me the cool story bro. Look, before that was a saying. It was her stop, so she got off. Now this is where it goes from fairly cringy to cringe factor 1 million. As she gets off the bus, I turn to a random kid I don't know who had been sitting in the row behind her. Give him a knowing look and a thumbs up. And say mission accomplished. He just stares at me. I get up. Go back to the front of the bus. Silently patting myself on the back for my cool smooth interaction. I'm not even exaggerating that this has kept me awake occasionally for almost 2 full decades. In 3rd grade, my mother gave me 30 Valentine Day cards to write my classmates' names and attach a small candy. I instead wrote the name of my 3rd grade crush in other class on all of the cards. All of them. I proceeded to leave them by his classroom door while he was at recess. Sure enough, that boy never talked to me again. I went to a Blue Jays game. I'm from the States. When I was like 7. I thought the US hated Canada and started loudly booing the national anthem. My mom was not happy. Last year on New Year's Eve I was at a big bar in New York with friends, and I got kind of drunk and went outside for a cigarette at one point. I must have actually been outside for the countdown, because when I came back in I looked at my phone and it was like 12:02 and I asked my friend why there wasn't a countdown done by the DJ. I couldn't really hear what he said, so I went up to the DJ and asked to use the mic, and I did a second countdown in front of the entire bar with hundreds of people starting at 30 and no one joined in. I had a female family friend. We ended up going to the same school in the end, and she was having a party that evening. We were across the room from each other in the canteen. In 2 separate lunch queues, there was a lot of shouting across from people trying to talk to their friends, and I caught her calling to me and trying to say something. I keep shouting back, what? Cause it's so noisy. Me, I can't hear you, but we can chat at the party, yeah. Room suddenly goes quiet. Her FFS brick hizzy, you're not invited, and I'm not even trying to talk to you. Turns out she was trying to talk to her friend behind me. Don't know why this makes me cringe every time I think back to it, but it's probably to do with how cool I felt at 11 being friends with one of the cool girls by default, who it turns out never really liked me anyway. During my alcohol phase I went on Facebook to search for and pore over pictures of my crush. When I woke up in the morning, I realized that I had actually created an event with her name as the title. I believe the event was set as public. The name I put was a short version of her first name, but everyone knew. We've never spoken since, and the last time I saw her on the street I hid. In middle school we had this mean cooking teacher that everyone hated. Until our last year of being there, she seemed to lighten up a lot. On our last day of school everyone was hugging her and saying goodbye in the front part of the school. And I decided why the heck not. She's pretty cool. So as she was walking up the walkway towards me and I put out my arms to hug her, well, she walked right past me and I hear laughter from behind me, and it's my crush and her friends dying of laughter. Still kills me to this day. I once wrote a letter in 2nd grade to my best friend's older sister that was in 4th grade. It was gushy and gooey and romantic. He passed it on, and I sort of forgot about it until one day several weeks later, when I asked him, oh by the way, what did she say? And he responded she kind of just laughed. I still cringe when she brings it up, and we're now in our 20s. A while back our family friend's daughter committed suicide by hanging herself. My parents had invited them over a few years after the incident for dinner, and since there was a lot of people there, they divided the tables into a parents' tables and children's table. We were in our late teens, early 20s. 2 of her siblings were at the table. Instead of a tablecloth, our table was covered with a paper table cover and there were a few crayons around, so we could draw, play games. I was bored after dinner, and without thinking suggested we all play hangman. As soon as the words came out of my mouth I had realized what I'd done. I'll never forget the way everyone looked at me. I apologized profusely and sat in shame for the rest of the evening. I still break out in sweats every time I think about that. Waited in line at a gas station bathroom. I went in and took a gigantic shit and clogged the toilet. I tried to plunge it, but nothing worked. So I walked out with about 3 guys staring at me waiting to go in. I quickly drove off, only to find out I left my phone in the bathroom. Had to turn around and ask for my phone while everyone just stared at me. When I was 17 I was texting my boyfriend and remember saying I can't wait for you to come over this weekend so we can have sex and eat crabs. I sent it to my stepdad. I once referred to a friend as having an electric personality at his funeral. 5 days after he had been electrocuted. The word kind of just hung in the air at the funeral home, swirling around the group of 8 or 9 of us that were reminiscing. One of the guys looked at me and winced. A girl rolled her eyes and turned her back toward me. I swear it was innocent, but I have never, before or since, so badly wanted to be swallowed by the floor. Guess it's not as cringy now considering I was a kid when it first happened, but back in first grade we were writing a test or something, and I had to go to the washroom badly, but the teacher refused to let me go until the tests were finished, so I pissed all over my chair. There was a huge puddle all over the floor. The girl next to me asked me what was all over my seat, and I said it must have been water. She dipped her fingers in it and licked it up and said yep, it's just water. No one ended up finding out I pissed myself, so that's always good. My crush came to my house to do a high school project. It involved the internet, and while she sat next to me, she tried to navigate to Google on my computer. Unfortunately, the address bar auto-filled and took her to my last Google search. Page 2 of results for her name. Every link had been clicked. We both just sat in silence. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.